at the end of the date, I go to the bathroom. She doesn't tell me she's also going. So when I come back, the table's cleared and she's not there. And I had already paid the bill. And I'm like, did she leave?
Welcome to Dating Yapps, the podcast where we swap wild dating stories, share laughs, and serve up real talk experiences and advice. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Dating Yapps. I'm your host, Alex Daly, and I am so excited today. We have a beautiful engaged couple with us who are going to give us their super cute, meet cute story and give us all some life, bring us some joy, tell us some tales of fun, and most importantly, give us some hope that you can find success on the dating apps. They are living proof here. So I am so excited to have this amazing couple on. Welcome, Tom and Jessica. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't wait to talk about it.
Yay. So you guys are engaged, you're getting married, and you met on the apps. It's so exciting. You are a success story, and you both just have a super cute story of how you met. I saw it on your wedding website. It's just so sweet and so silly, and I want to dive into it. But first, I would love to get to know you guys a little bit better as a couple. So before we dive into your engagement story, but before we dive into your meet cute, let's just kick things off by talking about some of your preferences in your relationship. Are you guys ready to jump in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, you guys are so cute wearing your matching sweaters. I can tell that you're your teammates already, but let's see what your preferences are and where you align. I'm curious if you, one or both of you, prefer a romantic dinner date night at home, or do you like going out for a fancy restaurant date?
Restaurants.
I think romantic dinner night at home right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
sure we've ever done that, but that's what she prefers.
I think that would be relaxing.
I I guess our fancy dinner dates are not that thrilling.
Yeah, they are. I think
are either of you a cook?
he is.
Yeah, amateur cook, like lots of YouTube videos and shorts. Yeah, maybe that would be romantic, but I legit don't think we've ever done.
No, I'm saying like ordering in.
We've done ordering, yeah,
That's what I mean by
for
like,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
do.
So yeah, so mix it up. You can do some of both. Go out for a fancy dinner sometimes, stay in and order on other nights. It makes sense. You can't be going out all the time. Definitely can't be cooking all the time.
Mhm. Exactly.
Okay, so next question. Do you prefer a beach vacation or a mountain getaway?
Depends what beach, for sure.
Yeah.
In my opinion, not Jersey Shore. No offense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say beach, like a Okinawa or Hawaii beach. That would.
Both of which we have never been to. Just
Yeah,
to be
but
clear.
I'm saying that
Different.
would be cool. Like a nice beach like that.
No, for sure. Like an actual, like nice, like tropical
Yeah.
vibe. I think we'd both prefer. Yeah.
Yeah, just relax.
Same with the mountains too. Like Poconos versus like the Alps. I'm sure are very different.
Yeah.
Vibe, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
So depends on where you are, but shots fired on the Jersey Shore. Okay, not for you.
I guess we're just saying we don't like where we live. Yeah.
All right,
Mhm.
one more preference question, and it's going to help lead into your story together. In your dating app life, what did you prefer, Bumble or Hinge?
Mm.
I preferred Bumble because I had more control over who I was talking to because it was just in the girls' court.
And I did not prefer Bumble because I had less control over who I could talk to. It's not in the boys' court. Hinge. I think a lot of women will say they want a guy to make the first move as well, and literally impossible to do on Bumble. So we matched first on Bumble, and then like a few days later on Hinge. And she did actually message me first on Bumble before we ever matched on Hinge. So she did take initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Jess, you like taking the initiative, diving in, choosing who you're going to talk to and who you don't want to.
Yep. I loved it. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so let's get into the topic since we're talking about it. You guys met on the apps. Well, I saw on your wedding website, where were you in your dating lives at this time? I think it said that you had both ended quote unquote flings.
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, it was my what would you say? Wild man summer kind of a thing. I don't know, hot boy summer. I don't know what it's called. It was I think about a year prior, I had had a rough breakup, which sent me into a months long thing of working out, getting in shape, getting tan, like all that stuff. Um, and the dating life was like fun on the apps, but it was also like tumultuous. It was a lot of like quick flings, and then all of a sudden like up and down, 100 to 0, 100 to 0. And then by the time we got to, I guess it was September, I was like, oh my God, like I'm exhausted from this. This sucks. It was clearly like a way to try to feel better about the rough breakup, to go through all of that. And I was just feeling exhausted. And I think I had gotten out of something maybe a week-ish, maybe 2 weeks before I met Jessica, and things were still kind of like resolving, like day of when I met Jessica, like that
Oh.
morning. And this person was not a nice person. They were yelling at me for crimes I still am unaware of. It's and that same day, my dad had to go to the hospital, which turned out to just be kidney stones, but we didn't know that yet. So I had already matched with Jessica. We had chatted a bit. She said she was busy for like 3, 4 weeks or something. Like which you probably know is like a death sentence on the dating apps. Like if you
Yeah.
don't immediately, like you're screwed. So I was like, okay, I'm never gonna meet this girl. And then my dad was in the hospital, and this other chick was yelling at me. And
Off to
then
a good start. Off to a
like
good start.
horrible Friday, September 22nd. Fast forward a few hours, and I get a message from Jessica on one of the apps, like, "Oh, I'm actually free tonight." And I was like, "Oh my God."
So it went from I can't see you for the next month to actually what are you doing right now?
Yeah, we would have never met if I didn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you were like, okay, I'm down.
Yes, I was at my parents' house because, as I said, my dad went into the hospital that morning. So I had driven home from where I was living in Westchester to my parents' house, about an hour away. And I had no clothes at my parents' house. I was wearing like a hoodie and sweatpants. So then I had to tell her, yes, absolutely, act like nothing was wrong, drive back to Westchester to get clothes to wear. My roommate Tyler was there, and he's like, dude, you can't go on a date. You look like you were hit by a bus. And I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I showed Tyler a picture of her, and Tyler was like,
Go.
you
Yeah.
gotta go. You got you gotta go.
I love that he saw a picture of Jessica and was like, dude, like, that's a good one.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Gotta go. Yeah. And I had been like seeing someone who was like a little bit younger, like a year or two younger than me. And like it was so weird. We had had our like third or fourth date and like we were like on the couch and everything and like didn't kiss. So it was just very awkward. And then we just had like stopped talking after that. And it was kind of upsetting because I was like, what happened? Um and we just decided after that was so weird to stop talking. And so I was like, oh, this is annoying. And then I was going to go out with my friend Sam that night. Like we were going to go out. And then she was like, oh, I actually have like a birthday party. So I was like, oh, well, I'm free. So everything just kind of, worked out. But I wasn't expecting anything to really happen that night. I had no clue what he was going to be like.
Yeah, so timing just aligned magically so that your first date could actually happen. And now I get it. You guys are both coming out of sort of like situationships. And Tom, you're so right on the apps. It is like feast or famine. Sometimes you like have a million matches and then it's down to zero. But so you matched with Jessica. She's like, what are you doing right now? And you're like, okay, here we go. And so you go out. What happens?
Yeah, we went to White Dog Cafe in University City.
Oh, yeah.
I knew White Dog always had spots because it's so huge, but I thought it was pretty good. So I picked that, and I roll up, and I decided in this phase of my life to kind of go more traditional with first dates, like bring flowers to it. And so I think I brought
Oh,
some flowers. And I also saw seated right next to me, I got there first. I saw right next to me was a former coworker and his wife. And so I'm chatting with them, And that's when Jessica arrives, and so she sees like a big box of chocolates, a bouquet of roses, and a bunch of people talking to me, and she thought it was a setup. She thought she was like on a reality TV show for a second. She's like, "What is this?" Because it was so unusual for a first date.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I've never experienced that. No one's brought me flowers and chocolates on a first date. Jessica, what were you like? What was going through your mind?
I was like, oh, maybe he's like actually like a nice guy. Maybe he just like does this forever. I didn't know really like what to think about it. I was like, let me just like let him talk and like see how he actually is. But it was definitely like a great like first impression to see that. It's like, okay, I'll give him some time.
Let him cook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I thought we were having a fun time. And I think we had fun chatting and everything. And then, as I think you saw on the wedding website, at the end of the date, I go to the bathroom. She doesn't tell me she's also going. So when I come back, the table's cleared and she's not there. And I had already paid the bill. And I'm like, did she leave? Like, what?
Wow, you thought you got like live ghosted on a date.
I legit did. With how like ridiculous. I remember I had gotten yelled at that same morning. My dad was in the hospital. It was just like when it rains, it pours. I was like, of course she left. Like this was just like the icing on the morbid cake. It was probably like a good 5 minutes of me just sitting there wondering, like, do I ask the waiters like if she left? Like, how embarrassing is that? And then she emerges. She had gone to the bathroom herself because she thought she could pee faster than me, despite me getting a head start, which had made no.
So she scared you a little bit, but she came back. And how did you guys leave it at the end of the first date? Did you
with
feel
a
like it was successful?
with a side hug. I was gonna go in for the kiss, and she gave me one of those like so fun and hops in her Uber, and I was like, oh man, she's never gonna text me back. And I don't remember exactly like if I texted you like I'm home, like had fun, or one of us must have texted something like that. And then we
He
kept.
definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. Okay.
He definitely
And then we kept chatting, and we ended up chatting on like both Bumble and Hinge and texting and
and
Instagram.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
I went on LinkedIn as a joke and like pretended I was a recruiter, and like then we were also chatting there, and it was all like fake characters. Like
Yeah.
it was all like we pretended to be different versions of ourselves, and we'd like talk about like Jessica 1, Jessica 2, Jessica 3.
Oh my gosh, it was a whole thing. Yeah. Because it was a whole joke because like Jessica 1 was on Bumble and then Jessica 2 was on Hinge. And then I think we said Jessica 3 was like on Instagram or something. So we had all these different Jessicas on different um,
Right,
platforms. Yeah.
it was almost like me being the Bachelor, like on the show. Like
Yeah.
I had my pick of the Jessica I liked most, and they were all very different
Yeah.
personalities. She would even do like character voices on voice notes for these different people. Like it was
Yeah.
so fun, which she will not do right now. But yeah.
Oh, wow. So you guys were like doing a little bit together. That's really cute that you were just like being cute and creative right off the bat. And Tom, you were keeping her busy and tied up by making her stay on so many different chats.
Yeah, fully intentional. Because at this point, I was feeling quite insecure in many ways, given the tumultuous love life I had like in the year leading up to that. So, she's obviously very beautiful. Her profile was very good, like all phenomenal photos. And I was like, she must get a right swipe from literally every straight man and gay woman imaginable. I don't think you were in the woman pool, but like you know what I mean. Like anyone that's into women was swiping right on her. That's some elite competition. It's not like I thought I was a loser or anything, but it's tough competition. So I was like, well, I know she's really, really busy with her nursing job at the time. She was doing like 12-hour shifts. And if she is responding to me on 5 platforms, I don't know how she has time to respond to other people. That's a good sign, right? And I would like ask my sister, ask my friends. That's a good sign, right? And they're like, yeah, 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 that's a good sign. So I was like feeling pretty good.
So this was your strategy. You were going to take up her time by participating in chats on every platform. Did it work? How did you get to that second date?
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. It was so fun. I feel like everyone else I was talking to on the apps, it was just so boring and, how was your weekend and stuff. And with him, it was like it was so exciting. I never knew who I was going to talk to next. I never knew what was going to happen. Like, it was just like, it was like a huge dopamine hit, like, but like massive every time I talked to him. So it was like addicting. So yeah, it was working.
So your strategy really paid off, Tom. I'm really impressed by this, honestly, and it's very unique. I don't know anybody else who has adopted this strategy.
It's not a good strategy, just to be clear. Like,
He does not recommend.
for most people, it would be way over the top.
It's very time consuming, but it's worth it.
Yeah, that's like a challenge for dating, especially like the dating app dating. People feel like they have so many options in their back pocket. They're very particular. So it's like, oh, well, this person is too extra. They're so into me. They sent me like 2 messages. And then the other people, it's like, this guy never talks to me. He only called me 3 times today. It's like, you can't win. You can't win. So that would be my advice to the extent this is like an advice show at all. It's just like, don't be yourself. Yeah, yeah, you have to rein it in a bit at the outset, but don't be too worried about like a single game plan because people are so different. And Jessica, for whatever reason, loved the excessive, way over the top messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
so it worked for her, and you're not sitting there worrying about like, oh, should I double text? You're like, I'm quadruple texting. I'm
oh yeah.
texting on every
Oh yeah,
platform.
that was he like that's the best thing. Like he will never worry about that.
And just to be clear, like these were also long messages.
Yes.
Like and same with her, which also gave me some confidence she was actually into me because she was taking a lot of time clearly, but it would be like long paragraphs back and forth to the point where one day like I was even really tired with work and said like I gotta be honest, I don't have the energy to keep up with the jokes today. Like she was just out comedying me quite easily.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
which had
Yeah.
never happened before. I was always the one who was too extra in these exchanges, but
Well,
so for
that's a great sign. She was matching your energy and really like yes-anding it.
exactly, yeah. Before the second date, we had maybe like a 2 or 3 week gap. I realized that on her profile, but like in the looking, what you're looking for column or whatever, there was nothing. And then she mentioned med school in one of our text messages. And I was like, oh no, like, I was a little confused. Usually you also put like looking for relationship. And I was like, with med school, maybe she already knows she's moving. So I asked her and she's like, yeah, I actually don't intend to stay local at all. I applied to some local ones, but I'm not looking for anything serious right now. And this was utterly baffling to me.
Ooh. Yeah, so you're like, oh, I guess like she's not looking for anything. So like, how do you proceed from there?
I was like, bitch. Like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I was like, girl, like, this girl is texting me on like 5 platforms with 5 different human personalities. Like, how is she not looking for anything serious? It made no sense. So I do an emergency call with my therapist. This is like the day before the second date. Like, it was very quick. I talked to my sister. I have an older sister. I talked to some friends. And they all told me, all of them, literally 100% of the people were just like, just don't go. Just don't go. She's clearly confused. She clearly doesn't know what she wants. You're just going to get hurt again, blah, 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 blah. So I ignored their advice and I go on the date. And I was ready though. I was going to be like assertive. I was going to like, try to have a nice time, but like at the end of the date or whatever, ask her straight up. And if she still stood by this whole, I don't want anything serious, just let her know that's not what I'm looking for and walk out and try to have like a power move so she would want me. There was still like a strategy to it. But that didn't happen. I mean, we had a lovely second date. By the end of the date, I mean, she had even told the waiter when I was in the bathroom that it was my birthday. It was not at all. Like it really wasn't even close. And they brought out a little gelato with a candle and she sang me happy birthday. It was super cute. So again, I was just confused. Like she's not looking for anything serious, but she's doing these like super cute things. And so I asked her at the end kind of awkwardly, like, you said you weren't looking for anything serious, but like what if something lovely came along? And she's like, "Oh, well, of course then. Of course then I would take advantage of it. Those things only come along once in a while." And that was good enough for me.
Okay, so you were not looking for anything serious, but you were open to a relationship if the right one came along. But it felt like even by the second date, you felt like maybe this was something special.
I didn't want to set myself up for like, oh yeah, I'm looking for my next husband because I didn't know where I was be moving. So I wanted to be open about what was going to be happening. So it was kind of like on the fence about everything. But I was like, yeah, if I do find that right person, of course that will change the story. Yeah.
That makes sense. So, Tom, you took a chance. You didn't take people's advice and you went out with this maybe unavailable person, but seems like it worked out. So, when did you guys like actually become official? How did you get to that point?
Not long after that. I mean,
Yeah, like a month in. Yeah.
yeah, about a month after our first date, things were still pretty ambiguous, I would say. Even though like she clearly liked me at that point, I don't think there was ever any doubt that I liked you in your mind.
Hmm.
I it's still so new, and there was still kind of this big looming question of where she might go to medical school. But we were then making plans like months out. I mean, like an Eagles game, like end of November, we were planning on going to. So like 2 months out, 3 months out, which is obviously a very good sign, but still nervous. And we went on a few more dates in October. We were planning on going out that Sunday already. We were gonna like watch an Eagles game at like Barstool, a Sunday fun day,
Yeah.
as the kids say. But that Thursday, like she had just kind of randomly become available, and so we decided to go out. That may have been the sampan day,
Hmm.
and then we wander back, and I am like way too drunk to drive home. And to this day, we have a disagreement about this. She will maintain I was clearly trying to get into her pants. I will maintain that had she said no, of course I would have respected that because I'm not a creep. Actually, recently I think you just told me that you were worried about how dirty your apartment was. But like I was fucked up. I was drunk. No way you could even arguably drive home if you were being responsible, right? And she was like, "No," and I was like, "I swear I will sleep on the floor. Like you can lock your door. Like whatever you need to feel safe." And she's like, "No." So we're sitting in like her apartment vestibule, basically. Like, well, first we're outside, and this is when a woman from Russia, I think, comes up and starts yelling at us in her native tongue. And I think she's Russian. I don't really know Eastern European languages.
Yeah.
She's yelling at us. We have no idea what the fuck she's saying. I'm drunk as hell. I was in Fiddler on the Roof as a kid. And, you know, there's this song called To Life, and they say Nastorovia, I think it's just cheers in Russian. I could be wrong about that even. And so I just yell that at her, thinking she'll think it's friendly, and she did not, and she clocks me in the nose, punches me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And we still see the Russian woman like harassing passersby, like these
Like
like
kicking them. Yeah.
yeah, these young girls were walking by. She literally kicks them in the ass and stuff. So I call the police just for general, like, community safety. I didn't care that she punched me in the face, but she was, like, harassing randos. So she might hurt someone. She might jump in front of a car. Who knows? And the police come, and they just start laughing when I'm telling them the story. And Jessica's getting a bit pissed that they're laughing at me. She like, cared that I was punched in the face. I thought,
Aw.
I thought it was so cute. So then the police leave, and I'm still too hammered to drive home, and she still won't let me upstairs. But that's when I asked her to be my girlfriend. I figured we had gotten pretty far in life. She had seen me assaulted.
And like the way he asked me was like the best. He was like, "So we're dating, right?" Like that's literally how he asked me. I was like, "That is the weirdest way, like the funniest way anyone has asked me to be their girlfriend." But yeah,
I don't even remember that.
yeah, yeah.
That I mean, that is so funny. You gotta give him like a little bit of sympathy though. Like he was first of all drunk and then had just been punched in the
I
face
know,
and
I know, I know.
he's doing his best. He's like, so we're dating, right? Like he's tired. He's like,
Oh, it was funny. I loved it.
I was just confirming. I was like,
I was like, "Yeah, I know we are."
and I love that. I love that, Tom, you're thinking that you're like getting rejected sexually. And meanwhile, Jessica's just like worried that her apartment is too messy. And also, meanwhile, you are probably so drunk that you would not have noticed how messy her apartment was. So it's just like
right.
we're just like all up in our heads when we're dating, and you just don't know what someone else is thinking.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah. And then like I would see her apartment a few days later that Sunday because like I said we planned to hang out, watch the Eagles game and stuff. She had not cleaned it at all in the interim. Like it was completely a mess, and I still like didn't care. I was so happy to finally be upstairs.
I think
Nothing,
that's yeah.
nothing bad or sinful occurred, but I was just like so happy. And like I don't even think your furniture was set up, and you lived there for like 6 months at that point. It was really bizarre. To this day, I haven't asked that many
I
questions.
I think I think that just goes to show that like you can't mess things up with the right person. Like you can't do the wrong thing with the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
agreed.
totally. It was like very non-judgmental.
Hmm.
Aw, that is so cute. Definitely, not a super traditional route to being boyfriend, girlfriend, but I love that it worked out for you guys. And it worked out so much that you got engaged. And it was like, what, like a year into your relationship? Is that when you got engaged?
Less.
Yeah, like 9 months.
Nine
Oh,
months.
wow. So
Yeah.
when did you first start having those discussions? I know you said that you pretty much right away were talking about your future together. So how did it come up? When did it come up that you felt like you wanted to talk about like the future?
Yeah, this is probably the more unhinged part, because what I just described wasn't unhinged at all. Um, this was like January, like
Like very early.
3, 4 months in. We actually were drunk one Sunday afternoon together and went to Tiffany's near Rittenhouse Square for ring shopping. And to be fair, it wasn't like super serious, and Tiffany's was like ridiculously priced. I highly
Yeah.
recommend against it. But yeah, but then we talked about it. We,
Yeah, yeah. After that, we were like, like let's talk about it. And then, yeah, in March, we went and started looking at rings. And then I think like later in March, we picked one out.
yeah, I think we picked one
Yeah,
out like pretty quick.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
yeah.
at that point, we knew we were planning a vacation together sometime in June or July.
Hmm.
And I knew that's probably when I'm gonna propose to her. I mean, it would kind of be a big swing and a miss if I didn't do the Europe vacation proposal if I already had the ring on hand, and it was also gonna be her birthday and stuff, so it just seemed like a natural fit.
Yeah, that's so sweet. So you guys like kind of went to Tiffany's early on, but it was kind of just more for fun, but then it sounds like it opened up the conversation for you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. And I feel like a lot of times it's like the girl who's like, oh, yeah, let's bring it. But I feel like Tom kind of like brought it up first. And I was like, yeah, oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking. But I like, yeah, so it was kind of like we read each other's minds.
Similar to my message on 5 platforms plan, I was like, let me put a ring on it and lock this down.
You locked it down. So how did the actual proposal go?
This was wacky. So she knew it was coming because we were going to be in Paris on their basically Independence Day, their Bastille Day, July 14th, which is also her birthday. And I feel like some women would love to get proposed to on their birthday, and others would despise it. And so I just said hypothetically, if someone were to propose to you on your birthday in Paris on Bastille Day, how would you feel about that? She was like, I would love that. Oh my God. So we had this romantic, dinner cruise on the river, and it's the one day a year I think they said they actually shut down the Eiffel Tower because they set it up with fireworks inside. So I was like, okay, this is going to be perfect. We'll be like on the river, we'll be passing Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower and stuff. I can get some photos with the on-deck photographer and maybe there will even be fireworks in the background, who knows. So we get on the ship and I talked to the like host after we're seated off to like the side, and I was like, "Hey, like I plan on proposing to my girlfriend here. Uh can we go up to the roof deck? Yes. Is there a photographer on board? Yes. Can you let me know when we're going by like famous sites? Yes." But he was like, "We do this all the time. Give me the ring." And I I didn't think he was gonna steal it. Ever since I've told this story to people, like they straight up are concerned about theft. It never crossed my mind. He was just like, "We do this all the time, sir. Like, as you can imagine, like we're a romantic dinner cruise in Paris. We do this all the time. Give me the ring. I have this great setup. Amazing. He even moved our seat from the center of the ship to a window seat.
Ooh, this was not their first rodeo. They're like, you've come to the right place, sir.
Or so I thought. So I thought that the reason they moved us to a window seat is because like as we were going by nice views, they were going to like do whatever plan they had in mind, right? It just didn't happen. I mean, they bring out all the courses for the food. Nothing. I don't even know where the host is at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think he had stolen the ring, but we had done the whole sailing aspect, and we're docked back at the dock. So now outside our window is a fucking piece of concrete with a metal railing and a life preserver. And
Are you panicking at this point?
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I look again, not because I think the ring is stolen, just because I'm like the moment's ruined. It like everyone is going upstairs on the ship to see the fireworks. It's like I forget what time, but like say the fireworks were going to be at 11. It's like 11:05. They start the fireworks a little late. Um, and I finally find the host, and I'm like, "Sir, the ring." And he's like, "Oh, you want it now?" I'm like, "Yes." When
There
I
was some miscommunication.
when else?
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's the photographer?" He's like, "Oh, he's left. The photographer is gone." So I'm like, "Sir, okay,
Forgot about
take
that.
my phone, film this, take photos, etc. Give me the ring. We're gonna do this here. Then we're gonna go above deck. Cool." So they bring out the box with the ring in it, just wrapped in a cloth napkin. Like, what the fuck? They bring out a second set of the same dessert we had already eaten. I'm just gonna roll with it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ruin, my time. I planned a speech, I forgot half of it. We're basically both laughing slash crying simultaneously, weird happy cry emotion. And it was cute. I still have the video on the phone. Then we go upstairs where every other passenger on the boat had been for the past 15 minutes because they were already done.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the fireworks had not started, and I just asked a random woman who I assumed did not speak English. I'm holding Jessica's hand with the ring. I'm like, we got married,
Yeah.
and she's like, yeah, I speak English. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, can you take photos? We're gonna recreate the engagement. So we did with the Eiffel Tower in the
Yeah.
background, and there were so everyone did not know we had already been engaged. So everyone starts applauding, hooting and hollering. We basically did a second engagement. She did not say yes because she had already said yes the first time. So people were kind of confused. Like he just assumed we met some couples from the US that were there and stuff, and then the fireworks start. Like it
Yeah.
was really just fantastic, despite the terror that I experienced before that.
Yeah, no, that would be a moment of panic for sure. And also, but like no one would know because you got the photos, you got the shot, and people are like, oh, they got engaged in front of fireworks at the Eiffel Tower. Like beautiful, amazing. And meanwhile, you're like,
Right. We technically did. It's just we were in the bowels of a ship when it first happened. It's just,
Yeah.
So we're revealing the big secret. Most of the prettiest photos we have of the engagement are second engagement.
That's
Right.
so funny. It's like Instagram versus reality.
Exactly. Yeah. What
But
a
you
night.
did say yes, and now you are going to be married this coming summer. It's so exciting. How are you guys feeling about it?
Excited. Yeah, we're good. I mean, we're super excited. We had our tasting today and like everything's wrapping up with our wedding. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly recommend finding wedding planners. In fact, we should pitch Barry and Antonia. They're fantastic. They like I blush wedding something.
Flush bouquet.
Blush bouquet, just fantastic, reasonably priced. They will fight for you if they need to. They're highly, highly responsive.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
immediate.
They're fantastic, and so like if it's in the budget, or even if it's not, make room in the budget. Cut something else. They help so much. I would have never known half this shit had I not gotten wedding planners.
Mm-hmm. They're just
So shouts out to them, and it sounds like you guys are being well taken care of. And I can't imagine you guys are high maintenance at all. You guys are easy or laid back, go with the flow.
I mean,
So
lawyer and medical student. We're pretty high maintenance.
And you guys deserve to get what you want, and you deserve to like have the good service. You want the pics, you want the beautiful proposal, you want it all, and you deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you guys, and I'm so happy that you were able to come on the pod and share your story. I think it's like very inspirational because I think a lot of people who are swiping and dating, it's so hard to find someone that you even like enough to want to go on one date with, much less feel like you're going to meet someone who you're going to potentially spend the rest of your life with while on the apps. But here you guys are. You are proof that you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like keep on keeping on like on the apps. Like it takes a while, but if you have enough patience, like eventually you'll meet someone. So yeah, don't lose hope.
Yeah, I think on and off, I've been on apps since like college, I guess. They kind of came out when we were in college, right? Like
Mhm.
Tinder was the first one. Yeah, lots of, misses, but eventually I think this is from the show How I Met Your Mother. Like it's ultimately a numbers game. I'm not encouraging anyone to just run roughshod through populations and not care about people's feelings or your own, mental health and stuff, but you might have to go on some dates that don't go super well, and that's just part of the game, and you can't get discouraged because, the 10th, 11th, 12th one might be fantastic.
Yeah.
And even when you do go on a date that goes well, you might not think it went well. You might think that they left while you were in the bathroom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You never really
You
never.
might get punched in the face by Russian agents. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Hmm.
But you can't do the wrong thing with the right person. Clearly, you guys liked each other from the jump. I love that. I love that how creative you were with talking to each other on the apps and how it's just like clearly a match for you guys. And it's so cute and so inspiring. And I love to see people being happy.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Yay.
Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us and for sharing your story with us. And for our listeners, if you know someone who needs to hear a little inspirational story of people who found love on that apps, share the story with a friend. Press that little arrow, send it right now. Share some laughs, share some love, and we will keep chatting. And until next time, we will talk to you all later. Thanks for
Great.
joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.